Welcome and good morning, everyone. I am Katie Cartman, the Director of Religious Education here at Emerson Unitarian Universalist Church in Houston, Texas. Our beloved community of faith, reason, and affection welcomes all to grow in mind and spirit as together we build a better world. And happy 2023, y'all. If you are joining us for the first time this morning, we extend a special welcome to you and invite you to fill out our visitor card, either in the pew in front of you or on the YouTube link, so you can receive more information about Emerson and our activities. Again, welcome to all. We are a church in many places, some of us here in the pews and some joining us on YouTube from home or wherever we might be. And our worship world is a different one than it was early in 2020. Our worship service has changed accordingly. We're giving people choices in the pews as to distance between families and whether or not they would like to continue masking. We've put a few offering baskets at the front and back of the sanctuary for people to drop off their offering throughout the service rather than passing the plates. For those of us in the sanctuary this morning, let's take a moment to picture the dozens of friends, neighbors, and those we've not met yet who are taking part in the service on YouTube, either right now or later in the week as their schedules allow. Please do take a moment to silence your phones so that no one is disrupted during the service. And as a side note, yes, we know there is a geyser happening on the sidewalk north of our property. It has been called in. Sunday school resumes today. Children and youth will be making a 2023 stepping stone today. Please follow me to the classroom during the offering music. Following the worship service, folks in the pews may head out to the gathering place for snacks and beverages, perhaps head out to the courtyard to enjoy the sunshine, and we'll also have social time on Zoom hosted by Board Trustee Marilyn Rambo, a chance for you to gather in smaller groups to discuss the service and what's going on in your lives. And now for our prelude.
Good morning, everyone. I am the Reverend Michelle LaGrave, the interim minister of this congregation. This morning's service is an annual tradition here at Emerson. It is called Turnings, and it is a time in which this congregation ritually honors the seasons of our lives as we move into the new year and the wheel of life turns once again. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you find yourself on your life's journey, whichever your pronouns, whether you've walked in or rolled in or dialed in, whatever your age, whomever you love, you are welcome here. You belong here. For 5,000 years or more than 15,000 generations, human beings have been invoking spiritual power. My predecessors and yours have gathered together to make sense of their lives and their place in the cosmos. And they have spoken aloud and invited what they conceived as sacred and powerful to be with them. They called upon the spirits of air and earth, fire and water. They called the bear and the deer. They asked for the raven to protect them. They pleaded for the heroes of old to slay the monsters of their fears. They sang songs they learned from their grandparents and moved in the appointed ways, or in ways that were new but felt like the right thing to do. And they imputed power to these spirits and to the memories of those heroes. They called them gods, and they were invoked. Vishnu and Kali, Elohim, Odin, and 100 million others. Every group of people, everywhere. They gathered to make sense of their lives and to make sense of their place in the cosmos, and they called these spirits to be present with them. And so do we. So do we. We gather this morning to make sense of ourselves and this universe in which we live as best we are able. And we call ourselves to worship together, and we invoke the power and wonder of life itself, that to which all those spirits of animals and memories of heroes pointed the way. We invoke that power, which is, we know, always around, always with us, but which we sometimes forget about. We forget that we are part of the whole of creation. We forget that we are stardust. We forget that we are capable of miracles, first among them, that we can love. We forget these things, so we invoke the power of existence so that we can remember, so that we can lift our eyes and open our ears to the true and beautiful. For 5,000 years or more, we have done this. In many tongues, in many ways, we have done this. And so we continue that ancient tradition in our way and in our time. And so let us now worship together.
This morning, we light our chalice for life itself, for the life that has been, life as it is now, and the life that is yet to be. We light our chalice to illuminate the infinite strands of existence of which we are a part. May its radiance shine forth today and for all our days.
In body or spirit for our opening hymn, which is number 347 in the gray hymnal, if you want to see the notes. Gather the Spirit.
Behold the children. They have come forth from the great womb of the earth. They have come forth to stand with stardust in their hair, with the rush of planets in their blood. Their hearts beating out the seasons of eternity, with a shining in their eyes like the sunlight, with the hands to shape with that same force that shaped them out of the raw stuff of the universe. When a child is born, it is the symbol of all birth and life, and therefore all must rejoice and smile, and all must lose their hearts to a child.
For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. Now is the time for welcoming those who were born into our extended community this past year. These are the grandchildren of our members who were born in 2022. Alma Louise Abrams Nasser, born October 1st, 2022, grandchild of Sarah and Charles Boyd. Mila Savage, born August 13th, 2022. Grandchild of Ellen Norton and Andy Savage. 2022 was a year, in many ways, filled with joy. So many members of this community welcomed a child or grandchild, niece or nephew, or other loved one into their family or extended family this past year. We celebrate them too and invite you to either come forward and light a candle with Katie at the table below me and to my left, or a candle at home, and to say their names aloud. If you'd prefer, you may raise a hand and a candle can be lit for you.
Ophelia Meek and Katie Meek.
Wyatt Cahill.
Magnus McIntyre.
These are the names of those we know and love. We welcome them with gratitude for all the gifts of their lives, those known and those yet to be known. There are many more, of course, who have gone unnamed, those unknown to us. We celebrate their lives, their births as well, and light one more candle in gratitude for the ongoing gift of life.
Giving out of what is our own is a transformative act. As a community of faith, we collect an offering not for ourselves or our congregation, but to give to others as a collective action of our community and as a way to live out our shared values. Please give with a generous heart to support our January Share the Plate recipient, U. This is a Texas Hill Country UU camp and retreat center. Its well is from the era of World War II and is nearly depleted, and as the only source of public water, it must be replaced for the camp and retreat to remain open. Funds will also go to increase conservation measures and possibly expand housing for future generations of friends and visitors. And the remaining 25% of our offering goes to our ongoing commitment to Interfaith Ministries' Meals on Wheels, feeding Houston's seniors. We have 3 ways to give. You can go to our webpage for online giving, or you can put our offering in our baskets, or mail a check to the church.
essence of spirituality, of human spirituality, is how we respond to the fact that we were born and that we will die. As humans, our self-awareness includes a perspective of time. We understand that there is a past, a present, and a future of which we are only a part, and that our unique lives, as we know them to be, only exist within a finite amount of time. We have forebears, people from whom we came biologically, but also those from whom we came culturally and spiritually. We have descendants, some biological, but also many more whose lives we have helped or will help to shape in some way. We, as individuals, are each a unique and important part of a living faith tradition. We know this. What we do with this knowledge, how we respond to this knowledge, shapes our spirituality. In other words, the knowledge that we will someday die, if we are, in fact, able to face this fact head on, leads us directly to the big question: how then shall I live? How then shall I live? This is a question we revisit each year, along with a story that comes from Buddhism. This version was told by Stephen and Andrea Levin and addresses the question of how to live within the concept of impermanence. Once, someone asked a well-known Thai meditation master, in this world where everything changes, where nothing remains the same, where loss and grief are inherent in our very coming into existence, how can there be any happiness? How can we find security when we see that we can't count on anything being the way we want it to be? The teacher, looking compassionately at this fellow, held up a drinking glass and said, "You see this goblet? For me, this glass is already broken. I enjoy it. I drink out of it. It holds my water admirably, sometimes even reflecting the sun in beautiful patterns, just like it is doing right now. If I should tap it, it has a lovely ring to it. But when I put this glass on a shelf and the wind knocks it over, or my elbow brushes it off the table and it falls to the ground and shatters, I say, of course. When I understand that this glass is already broken, every moment with it is precious. Every moment is just as it is, and nothing needs to be otherwise. Knowing that someday we shall die then, how shall we live? When the glass is already broken, then how shall we live? Throughout the seasons of our lives, the turnings of our years, then how shall we live? It is both good and right that we ponder this question every year, and this year as we mark the turning of one more year, as we remember those who died and welcome those who were born and recognize all the many turnings of our lives. For everything, there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. Now is the time for remembering those whose lives have been lost, but whose memories live on in our hearts and minds. These are the members and former longtime members of this congregation who died in 2022. Hillary will light a candle for each as their photo appears on the screen. Barbara Hopkins, January 22nd. DeForest Ralph, January 25th. Ken Hillstrom, February 18th. Gabe Gelb, September 15th. Judy Taylor, October 7th. Tim Lawrence, October 18th. "2022 was also a year filled with loss. So many members of this community have experienced the death of a loved one, whether a family member or a friend, a colleague or a neighbor, or of a whole host of other vital relationships. We remember them too and invite you to either come forward and light a candle at the table below me and to the left, or a candle at home, and to say their names aloud. If you'd like, if you prefer, you may raise a hand and a candle can be lit for you.
Barbara Holder, a friend from Lubbock, UU.
Lillian Goldberg, mother of Nancy Wilkes, mother-in-law of Bill Wilkes.
My brother, Stanley Evans.
Bill Fugazi, a friend at the Methodist Hospital.
Robert Champion, Charles's nephew, Amanda Lee, my cousin, and Mitchell Carlson, my cousin.
My brother, Gary Oliphant.
Leonard Truesdell, my former husband and the father of our daughters.
Larry Lyons, one of the first poets and musicians I met when I came to Houston in '99. I'll be going to his funeral this Saturday.
Heaven Lee, our granddaughter, and Hayden Lee, our granddaughter.
Judy Taylor, a beloved member of our LPMT.
Fred Turner, my niece's husband.
And my uncle, Joe Goodwin. These are the names of those we have known and loved. We remember them with gratitude for all the gifts of their lives. There are many, many more who have died this past year and gone unnamed. Some may be known, many more unknown to us. We honor their lives too, and light one more candle for all of them as we mark their loss to the world. From John Donne. No one is an island entire of themselves. Each person is a part of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if a promontory were, as well as if a manor of thy friends or thine own were. Any person's death diminishes me, because I am involved in humanity, and therefore never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. How then shall I live? If the bell tolls for me, if I take that fact deep into the marrow of my bones, into the deepest recesses of my heart, and carry this across the many turnings of my life, how then shall I live? I choose to live as if I were made of stardust. Please join me now in a spirit of meditation. Find a comfortable place to be. Place your feet flat on the floor if you can and if you will, so that you might feel grounded, more connected to the earth which nourishes and sustains us all. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so, and take as deep a breath in as you can. As together we enter into a time of spoken meditation followed by musical meditation. I choose to live as if I were made of stardust, because I am. Science tells me this is so, though my mind can hardly comprehend it. My story began billions of years ago with a big bang, the creation of the elements and the stars and all the atoms that will ever be. Back when the tiniest components of me were forged in the stars. Over time, I know I lived as many things, though I cannot remember doing so. Feelings of awe and wonder expand in me as I imagine the possibilities. Perhaps I once swam in the primordial waters or swung from the trees. Maybe I once took flight at dawn or sang beautiful music. Perhaps my glacier self once glistened in the winter sun or slid across a continent. Or maybe I once roared as a dinosaur or lived as a Neanderthal or two. Knowing this, how then shall I live now? The glass is already broken. The container that is me has already shattered and scattered to the wind. What lessons have I left behind? What kindness have I sown? How is the world better for my having lived? And what shall become of me next? Perhaps I will swim as a dolphin or hibernate as a bear. Or maybe I'll become a wisp of a cloud or a piece of an airplane. The glass is already broken. I am made of stardust and may yet become dust once again. How then shall I live?
For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace.
For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven, for every purpose under heaven. Birth and death are the beginning and ending of our lives as we know them to be. Yet there are many more turnings of our lives as we grow and develop, as we seek to live lives filled with meaning and purpose, coming of age, voting for the first time, going to college or grad school, going back to school later in life, becoming a citizen of this or another nation, buying a first home, retiring, getting published, ending a relationship, starting a new career, coming out, getting married, birthing or adopting a child, going to seminary, transitioning from one gender to another. These turnings are the especially consequential moments or decisions of our lives in which we shift our life's path from one direction to another, or move from one phase of life to another. There have been many in the year 2022. We recognize and honor these turnings too. And so you are invited to either come forward and light a candle at the table below me and to my left, or a candle at home, and to share these turnings out loud. If you'd like, you can raise a hand and a candle will be lit for you.
Beginning graduate school and starting a new profession.
Welcoming my new daughter-in-law, Avery, when she married my fabulous son, William.
These are the turnings of our lives. We honor them with gratitude for the fruits they have already borne, as well as those yet to be. There are many more turnings, of course, that have gone unnamed. Those both known and known to us, welcome and not so welcome. We honor their momentousness as well, and light one more candle in gratitude for the ongoing gift of transformation. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. And so it is that now is the time to mark the close of another year. With gratitude for all that is, all that has been, and all that shall be, we complete another cycle. The wheel of life has turned once more. We begin again. Amen, and blessed be. Now let us rise either in body or spirit and join in singing our closing hymn, again in the gray hymnal, number 354, We Laugh, We Cry.
We need to feel
Please remain standing. Even as we extinguish the flame of this chalice, we carry the warmth of its life and the spark of its light within us until we meet again. When you leave this place and when you return, as you come and as you go, do not allow life to pass you by, but rather welcome in all of life with its grief and its sorrow, its joy and its laughter. Honor the turnings of your life and each other's lives, and bless all others as you yourselves are blessed. Amen, and blessed be.
Following the service, there will be social time here in the gathering place and outside, since the weather is beautiful, and on the Zoom. Today, there will be no lunch bunch because there is a budget town hall at 12:30, both here and on Zoom. And we would love it if you would be willing to help us take down Christmas decorations or grab a beverage in the gathering place while you wait. Also, there will be an annual congregational meeting on January 22nd at 12:30 p.m. And now the postlude.